on every corner. That's how long I've been trapping. Look at my shirt. Beat it. Beat it. See, the trouble with making pineapple vinegar is pineapple microbial activity is quick acting. If you've ever made tapache, you know that it could go really fast. And I didn't check on this like I should, and I should have removed this fruit a long time ago. Like, it shouldn't have fermented for this many days. Like, the apples I would have left. So, and then I didn't submerge it. I didn't have nothing to weight it down. So what we got a little bit on the top is some canned yeast. It is not poisonous or anything. It just could possibly alter the taste of your ferment. But luckily, I'm not making alcohol. I'm making vinegar. So we're gonna see. The last batch of pineapple vinegar I tried, like, went downhill real fast. Real fast. So, I've got SCOBY I can add. Yo, like, doing this stuff, if you don't have a purpose to it, or I say a purpose, because the purpose could be just making it to see if you could do it. So that's very well a valid, legitimate purpose. I should say, if you don't have a goal set in mind, that your ferments can start to become overwhelming, because they are children. If you have multiple SCOBYs, if you're doing starters for like sourdough, these things are children. They want to be fed. They want to be burped. And if you don't get to it, you could lose the microbes. You can lose the babies. So, I'm trying to get it out without losing the majority of my liquid. So, we'll see how this goes. But yeah, so if you're anything like me who has a high propensity to overdo shit, which is cool in the beginning, and I think it's a science brain. I'm gonna say that, because that whole monkey brain shit, I don't understand that. Not to say that it's because we use things like that as like a negative association. Like, people who are like, oh, no monkey, blah, 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 and we think monkey brains, monkeys be doing all this shit. Monkeys be actually having some organized thought. We just don't, we're not the monkeys. We not in a colony. We don't know what they be doing. Or whatever. And then let's not get on the fact that sometimes when we say monkey and we be talking about apes, and that's a whole different species. But even they use tools, and then they teach their children how to use these tools to make their life easier. So sometimes I think we be trying to insult ourselves or use nature to insult or this hierarchy that we think we have created. Anyway, about to not get on that soapbox right now. Back to the overactive brain trying a bunch of shit, and it's more like a research thing. I'm a researcher at heart, and the only way through some of these things to understand it from my perspective, yes, we could read. Yeah, what good is reading? And it's not like it's like theoretical processes, like it doesn't work. It's Will I be able to do it? What is happening? What can I see? And it's more because I am an kinesthetic learner. I need to see it, touch it, feel it, taste it, smell it, all of the above. Like, I can't just read about it. I can't just look at it on a video and be like, satisfy my curiosity. I have to do it. And which can lead down the rabbit holes of doing a lot of shit. Now, I should strain this off with a cheese strainer, cheesecloth, but that's a lot. And I don't have another bucket free right now. Gotta go do my bucket pickup. So I am hoping to get as much off, because what happens is if you don't, it'll just come back. And you can scrape it off again, and it'll just come back. So, kind of like the roots of some of these opportunistic plants. I don't like to say obnoxious. Well, I will say obnoxious sometimes, just depending on the environment. But we cannot blame these plants for being invasive if people done pulled them out their natural habitat and brought them here to do whatever, and then we get mad when they be like, oh, I got space, bet, move out my way. Like, it's opportunistic. Yes, it can be, bad for some of the things that you're trying to do if you're in that space and these opportunistic plants is taking up all the resources, But it wasn't like they just got here and decided to colonize themselves. Somebody did that to them. And then we mad that they doing what they do best, free of competition. And that's why I'm keeping some obnoxious plants on my altar, or opportunistic, just as a reminder that sometimes you have to have that energy. It is not always conducive. Sometimes you have to understand the mutualism, the symbioticness of it all. But sometimes, depending on who pulled you up out your natural habitat, you gotta be obnoxious. Oh, duh. This is the vinegar stage. So because this is the vinegar stage, it needs oxygen. And I don't feel like going to get a towel right now. So we're going to just use this paper towel. And we're going to put a rubber band around it. Rubber band, man. Okay, we're not going to use a rubber band. We're going to see if I can successfully tie it down. Or I'm going to steal my dad's rubber band and tie his cords down. No. He'll be trippy. He will trip if I do that. So we're going to do it like this. Don't tell him I told you that. I don't know. Some of y'all know how some fathers can be about their shit. Just imagine like the don't touch the thermostat energy with random cords and things. Like, his organization tools are his organization tools. Don't mess them up. Even if it seems like chaos to you, don't touch it. And I get it to an extent. Anyway. So you wanted to, this is the aerobic process, so oxygen infused. So when you're doing if you've ever watched any of my fermentation vinegar making videos, apple cider vinegar, first fermentation is the alcohol process. You want it to become alcohol. So you want it to be void of oxygen and burping it every once in a while, depending on the vessel that you use. Because I use these food grade buckets, there's never really an issue with like the expansion of it. Like, and I think that's maybe why I got the cam, because I didn't check on it as often as I should. But anyway, don't know. Again, I'm chalking it up to it being a pineapple because I did have that issue when I just did the apples before. Um, so yeah, the first process, no air. Um, you have to be able to burp it, let off the gas production. Um, and then once that gets to a stage of alcohol, you'll be able to smell it. You want to taste test it, because that alcohol then needs to be converted to acetic acid, and that happens when oxygen is present. So yeast converts sugar into alcohol, then air oxygen converts the alcohol into acetic acid, which is what the component of vinegar is. That's what you're looking for. So first step, top on. Second step, top off. Breathable cloth, because you don't want any buggies and stuff to get inside. Um, and because it is like fruit fly season now, it's getting warm, they will find themselves being attracted to the smell and drowning in your vinegar. So do what you can to keep them out. And then this is gonna sit. You're gonna let this do what it do. Um, you could also shake up the first step. Stir it, activate that fermentation. That's what I didn't do. Um, but yeah, this one you're just gonna set it and forget it, and hope that people don't touch it. And then once it ferments that SCOBY, then you're good to go. I do have a vinegar. I think I'm going to use this SCOBY in here. I forgot I do have one. So since this is in a rubber band, we're gonna see how well this comes off. I need to take it all the way off. Great. I'm gonna use a wooden spoon so that the metal doesn't react. Oh, duh. So, so this is a little jar of pineapple vinegar. It's more SCOBY than anything, and I'm just using this as a jump start to the process. See? Symbiotic culture of yeast and bacteria. And with any luck, that SCOBY will actually get bigger and more productive inside the bucket. And I'm gonna perfect this the pineapple one to make it taste good. And like, so when it comes to wild yeast in the air, it's kind of like if you've ever watched the sourdough mamas who start talking about like the sourdough takes on the personality of, and I'm using that word really loosely, of the house that it's in. So we're talking about a 50-year-old sourdough or whatever. If it was originally made somewhere and the starter has just been getting fed and fed and fed and fed over generations, right? It's getting the yeast from wherever this um, starter originated, right? It is the conditions of the house, it's the environment, right? It is a true testament of like having a relationship with the biodiversity of the microbes that's in this house, right? And if you take that starter out of that house and put it somewhere else, now what it is being fed, like as it's being fed flour, because it's still in a breathable space, it is now taking on new microbes in this new environment, in this new home, right? New biodiversity, right? Like we talk about like this unseen, it's this invisible, and it's only invisible to our eyeballs. It's there, right? We can see evidence of it being there when things pickle, when things ferment, right? Um, so as I'm learning things about like wine and beer making, right? So like you can go to a shop and get brewer's yeast. That word is so fucking hard for me to say. I don't know why. My tongue be like, no, bitch, I don't want to say that. Um, the yeast making for beer making and even wine making can be purchased. And when you purchase these things, like these are specific genetics that they grow and culture or whatever in specific places, right? Like it is something that they're specifically looking for because they know that this yeast is going to produce this kind of beer. It's going to have this kind of wine. It's going to have this, hopefully, if you do all the steps right, this kind of alcohol content, right? But especially, I'm seeing that it's true for beer. Like it has a specific taste, right? Just because the shit ferments, because it turns alcoholic, does not mean it's gonna have this taste that you want. And I want to know beer making just from the pure curiosity standpoint. I don't even drink beer because all of it tastes weird to me. Like 99% of it. Like I think I've had like 2 beers in my whole entire adult life that taste okay. I don't be seeing how people drink that shit. Is yeasty. And I don't do sours because that's too much. Anyway, but I'm here in this space called Beer City, and I wanted to learn like if I could turn a artisanal beer into a vinegar. That might be a cool process. Like you're talking about um, selling it, right? Marketability. That's my brain be going from point A of curiosity to how I can market this to other people real fast. Anyway, um, so you can theoretically sit some shit outside and catch the wild yeast that's outside, right? And capture the wild yeast and use that. Is it gonna taste like a beer that you want to drink? It is dependent on your area. The wild yeast that I would catch out here in Western Michigan is gonna be different if I go to the east side of the state and go to Detroit and try to catch the wild yeast there. If I go down south and try to catch the wild yeast there, right? So it is environmentally specific. There is so much happening, and then from like the science standpoint, that shit is really cool. So this vinegar, I'm gonna perfect it to give this taste. Then it's like, will this change if I go somewhere else with this process? What will it taste like? Yes, there's the wild yeast on the fruit, but then that depends on where do you get the fruit. Like if I grew pineapples myself, and they take like what 2 years to fruit, um, or if I knew somebody who was growing pineapples and I used theirs, like what is the wild yeast gonna be like on that? What does the vinegar taste like from that? So or the wine tastes like from that. I have not made a pineapple wine. That seems like a very active wine. And I do want to try it, but maybe a mead. I don't know. But anyway, that's my little random conversation on fermenting. Inside of a blackberry look crazy. Nature wild, yeah. Wow. All right. Go ferment some shit. Peace.